Ramble.
Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this episode.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of You Can Sit With Us. I'm one of your hosts, Becky, and I'm joined by Maggie.
Hi.
We got Matthew.
Hello.
We got Rainie on the ones and twos.
Hi.
And today, a very special guest, one of the newest guys in the Try Guys, Ash Perez.
Whoa.
Where do we look? Do we look
At each other. At each other.
There's no
Okay.
cameras.
You don't have to
cameras
speak.
aren't even
You don't have to
here.
speak to camera. You don't have to speak to
okay.
camera.
I was like,
We're going to break the fourth
my-
wall the
is that my
entire
camera?
time.
Checking yourself out. You're like, my hair looks good today.
like a drag race when she's like, is that my camera?
This is actually confessional. So,
Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not in between.
Well, thank you so much for being here today. We're so
Yes.
excited. And it's also Pride Month.
Happy
Yeah.
Pride.
That's the only reason
Happy
I agreed.
Pride.
Yeah, happy Pride.
Yeah.
Happy
also to you.
Pride.
Yeah. And to you as well.
Yes. I mean, it was just WeHo Pride this weekend.
How
Did
was
anyone do
it?
anything?
Did you guys go
or just
out?
me?
Go.
Just me. Oh.
Just you?
Did you?
Just you.
What'd you do?
I did. Yeah, I went to a pool party.
Oh.
Then I went down to like the festival. So many people.
What's
So many
someone
costumes.
playing?
So many
Yeah.
colors. The lineup was like insane this year.
Oh, really?
I didn't buy tickets to the concert.
Yeah.
It's like a 3-day concert you can buy tickets to.
Ooh.
But like last night, the headliner was Kylie Minogue.
Oh, shit.
Before that, it was Janelle Monáe.
Padum.
Like Diplo was there. Like there's
Padum,
some.
And you didn't go down there?
I didn't. I didn't. I mean, I was there, but I wasn't at the concert
Okay.
portion. You
You
can
guys
still like
know
hear
that
and
LA
stuff.
Pride and WeHo Pride are different?
I
Yeah,
just
isn't that
learned.
weird?
I only
Next.
learned because of a bus stop sign.
Yeah.
And it said like LA Pride this time, WeHo Pride this time. And I was like,
Yeah. Ricky Martin is going to be at,
Yeah.
at
Ricky Martin's performing.
LA
for
Pride
LA
next
Pride downtown.
And somebody else. There's a bunch of people that I was like, oh, that's good. But WeHo Pride is
It was
completely
lit.
different.
It was lit. Yeah.
Wow.
I think it's just so fun because everyone's so excited
Yeah.
to be there.
Mhm.
And they're just, everyone's so colorful
Yeah.
and like happy.
Yeah.
You know?
That is.
It's like Pride's just like rainbow explosion.
Yeah. I feel like
Yeah,
Pride is
it was
moving
really
away
cool.
again also from like just brands and corporate stuff because corporations are showing that they suck,
Yeah.
which we knew, but like
but sometimes they had
Yes.
cute t-shirts.
that's true.
This is true.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's for your capsule wardrobe. You can save them for every year. Yeah. You can save those Pride t-shirts for every year, Becky.
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
I
Yes.
want Old Navy. Remember how Old Navy used to do the American flag shirts every 4th of July? I
Yeah.
would love like a
A
Pride,
Pride?
one.
What? That's such an easy integration.
Yeah, an Old
Yeah,
Navy
that's
Pride
true.
flag.
I bet it
Mhm.
exists.
Yeah.
I
We
bet
should
we
check.
could find it.
Yeah.
Don't
We
buy
should
it full
check.
price though. That's the Old Navy secret.
Yeah,
always
that's
get
true.
a
Same
deal.
with Gap.
Old Navy.
Always a deal.
Gap.
Same parent company.
Yeah, I literally was
Yeah.
like, who is buying stuff at Gap? My cousin worked at Gap and all of my Filipino aunts refused to for the like 6 months she worked there before she got fired because she was giving everyone like family discounts. I actually don't know if she got fired, but they would
She
like
will now.
they would refuse to buy even though it was discounted without the like 90% family discount,
Oh, yeah.
but shop for
Oh.
like 12 of my cousins. And my poor cousin was just,
Thousands
like,
and thousands of dollars.
Yeah, so Gap lost a lot of money that year.
Wow.
That's why they don't have the money for the Pride
Yeah,
merch
they
now.
don't.
They're like, we're too poor for
One single Filipino family sucked them dry.
this. Matt, are you going to another day of Pride? Isn't it multiple days? Multiple days in the weekend?
I mean, it was all weekend. It was this last Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And
How many
today's
days
Monday.
did you go?
2 days. I did 2 days.
Well,
Yeah. So just did a pool party one day, went down to the festival,
okay.
and then the next day saw the parade.
the
yeah.
parade.
Yeah, but I'll probably do something again next weekend, you know?
You're going to
Yeah.
go downtown.
There's another parade.
Downtown. When's downtown?
Go see the other parade. I think
LA
it's next
Pride.
weekend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's always fun.
Always proud.
Everyone's walking in the parade.
Everyone's
Yeah.
walking in the parade. I saw Lisa Vanderpump there once.
In the
Oh.
parade.
She was waving. She was in the parade.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah,
she the like
LVP.
master of the?
She was not the baton.
Did she bring her
Person.
miniature horses?
She didn't bring
Miniature
any of her
horses.
ponies,
That would
but
be
Jiggy
funny.
was there.
That'd be
R.I.P.
good.
Jiggy.
Probably.
He might be dead. Her little sex monster. That's what she called her little Pomeranian. That was
Yeah.
always like like on
Tiny.
Vanderpump Rules, he was kind of like stuffed. Like you thought he was like a fake dog.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think he's gone.
I think Jiggy's no longer with us.
I think he's
R.I.P.
gone.
R.I.P.
But speaking of Vanderpump, on I saw multiple TikToks about this. And people only noticed it because there were so many people in West Hollywood this weekend for Pride.
Was it the flag thing?
Yes. The flag over the Pump restaurant and the Tom Tom is all covered by the Pride flag. So it only says Pump since Pump went out of business.
Oh.
So there was like,
Well, she claims the rent was too high. And then the owner of the thing was like, I didn't change the rent. What are you talking about? Yeah. They were like feuding on the internet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, so they covered Tom Tom?
Yeah, and they just had Pump instead.
Yeah, and they
like,
covered
that was
Tom
like-
Tom with flags.
Yeah, with rainbow
So
flags.
people are like,
yeah, so people are like, what's
"Uh-oh.
happening there?
Oh.
What's the drama?
They're all trying to make conspiracies about it.
I love internet conspiracies.
Love them.
They're great.
Love them. Have you
Like-
seen the triangle of like, if you believe this conspiracy, you'll believe everything below it?
Oh, no.
There was a girl on TikTok during the pandemic who did it, and she had this big board, and she was like, okay, here's a conspiracy. Like the bottom one was like things that were conspiracies, but that like were actually true, like Watergate, things like that.
Sure.
And she was like, okay, so if you believe these, you're not going to believe that like the birds are spying on us, right? But if you go up one more and you're like, oh, 5G is going to give you cancer, then you'll believe that, and you'll believe in
The
Watergate
birds.
and that stuff. And then you go further up and you're like,
Flatlanders.
if you believe in like Pizzagate, then you
Yeah.
definitely believe in.
What else would be on
That'd
there?
be a good video.
Yeah.
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 That'd be a good
Oh,
video.
yeah.
Okay, great. You're talking to an old school Tumblr gay here. I literally only go on Tumblr to get my gifs of my ships.
Is Tumblr still alive?
That's what I didn't
For
even
the
know
gays.
that it was
For the
alive.
gays.
For the gays who and mainly for the lesbians who need right now my Tumblr is all Emma Darcy and Olivia Cook from House of the Dragon. They're like very
Oh,
flirty with each other.
They're
You know
the
stunning.
drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grony.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something Prosecco,
Yep.
right?
You got it.
Spagliato.
Yeah.
Spagliato.
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 It's
Yeah.
yucky.
What?
It's
What?
yucky.
I tried it.
Do you like
I
a
did too.
regular?
Well, I don't like Negroni.
That's what I was gonna say. Do you like a regular Negroni? Then?
No. I
It
tried. I was like,
it tastes almost just like that, Becky.
I was like, why does this taste like a Negroni?
Yes. So
What's
good.
your favorite beverage to consume during Pride Month?
During Pride
Oh,
Month specifically.
Favorite Pride beverage?
Gay water.
Gay? That is actually a brand.
It's bubbly.
Gay water?
Bubbly.
Gay water.
Please don't tell me it's Jojo Siwa.
No, that would
Well,
be
she
funny.
did invent gay water.
Yeah, she did. Gay pop, gay water.
Probably. No, it's like a vodka soda in a can, and they call it gay water. It's like the brand.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, today, speaking of JoJo Siwa, this whole morning while I was getting ready, my like vocal stim was just dream guest on my podcast, like over and over.
Probably one of my
again.
exes. That and I'm working late because I'm a singer. That's in my head all the time.
Is that what is that?
Sabrina
That's
Carpenter.
Oh yeah.
Sabrina Carpenter.
Are you? So you're? Are you on TikTok for all of this stuff? I have to stop myself from
I'm a
getting on
TikToker.
TikTok, or I never get off.
I know. It's addicting.
You get
Yeah.
sucked in
It's
Yeah.
bad.
so easily.
I
it's
have
so
days
funny.
where I don't go on TikTok. I'm like, I'm not going on TikTok today. And I'm
What's
like,
y'all's
I'm not.
feed? What's
Dude.
like what's like the relaxing thing that goes on your feed that you'll stop and watch every time? Do you guys have like the deep cleaning rug videos?
Yes,
Blackhead
love him.
removal for sure.
Love him and Nate the Hoof Guy.
Oh
know
yeah.
God.
You get the Irish woodworker guy?
No.
Oh, he's good. He's
He's
good.
Irish
Very
woodworker.
soothing.
I got Nate the Hoof Guy and then whoever his knockoff person is, who's like
Yeah.
kind of like Nate the Hoof Guy, but is like not as like clean as the way Nate does his videos.
Yeah.
Is this a hoof cleaner? I'm guessing.
Yeah, he'll be
I'm
like,
not on that.
he'll be like, welcome back to Nate the Hoof Guy. And he'll be like, I'm sure you all see this spot. And everyone in the comments is like, me knowing nothing about hoofs. Watch the whole thing, baby. Salicylic, do a little salicylic powder.
Yeah.
You clean that hoof up good.
Well, it's gross because it's all like abscesses.
Yeah.
Ew.
But you know what?
Like,
The
it's not
horses
great
feel
to
so
watch.
good after, or the cows.
Yeah, one
Yeah.
little pebble will cause the biggest abscess.
Yeah,
You got to get
it's
on
gross.
Hoof Talk,
Yeah,
Maggie.
Now that we're like here,
I'll send you
Maggie
some.
Talk.
don't show me the abs. Oh, I like
Yeah.
blackhead removal. But I
Yeah,
don't
you'll
like
like-
abscesses.
Well, but it's
Oh.
not. It's not
It's not
gooey abscess. It's
Yeah,
more
okay.
like
More like a watery.
yeah.
It's us.
You guys.
It did just dawn on me though with the carpet cleaning. I'm like, in my mind, there was a place where everyone's rugs are getting so dirty, and
You
like,
go over to
feel-
people's houses
and then I was like, I think they're making these dirty. And I was like, duh, of course. In my mind, I'm like, there's not this
Conspiracy.
much. I think I just thought they're like finding these from the dump, or that people had like put a bunch of rugs in their barns. But I was like, no, they're for sure just getting these dirty so they can clean them. And then I was like, this isn't sustainable.
This is not sustainable. There's so many dirty rugs in the world that need help.
Yeah, exactly.
But then some of them I look at, I'm like, that doesn't look that dirty. And then I'm like, is my rug that dirty?
Yeah.
At home? You know?
Probably
Yeah.
with your dogs.
Probably.
Yeah.
Need to bring them in.
you gotta get that power washer.
Oh, yeah.
Love
Guys, I
the-
just got a power washer. I finally caved.
You got
Yeah.
your own?
I got my own.
Wow.
I got
that.
an electrical one because gas
Whoa.
is like
Yeah,
way
you
more
don't wanna deal with
expensive
that.
and probably, but for
There
the
was a
things that
gas?
I'm doing, it's very like
what are you
simple.
power washing?
Yeah, what's
Just
your
Zach
power
when it comes
wash?
home.
Concrete. Just like different, like I've done the car, I've done the patio furniture.
Oh
I did
my
some cushions. I almost ripped a cushion.
I was
It
about to
was
say,
that
you did your
strong?
car with power. Wasn't a power washer gonna?
As
Chip your
long as
paint?
there's
There's
like different
different-
little
yeah.
heads, so you can like
Oh.
disperse the water at a bigger angle. I'm
pressure.
guessing, or different pressure.
Oh.
But I just got one, and I was like playing with it last weekend. But we were spraying the jacuzzi
Ooh.
cover.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
I got too
Oh,
close, and you
yeah.
can see like my tricks of like where I was power washing. I was
You
like,
should write your
"Gosh,
name
darn
in it."
I know I should. I
Oh
put a little
my
happy
God.
face.
Write a message to Zach in it.
But it's
Yeah.
black. You can't really tell. It's fine. But you got to be careful. You got to be careful. But you should come over, clean the
I
the
will.
concrete
Hell
with me.
yeah.
Oh my
Hell
god.
Clean the
Yeah.
concrete.
I love being in my 30s for reasons like there's a moment at like every parties where someone starts talking about like insoles or something, and I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
let's go. By the way, I got those
Insoles.
like cork insoles. I finally caved. Obviously, I'm on Instagram.
No,
I've never
what is
seen
a
this.
cork
Cork
insole.
It's like a
It's like a
Birkenstock?
Birkenstock, and
Oh.
it's but they're thin, and
they from
go
REI?
into- no, they're called. You can bleep it out until they
We're
sponsor you.
sponsored. Yeah, this actually
Fulton,
sponsored.
I think.
Okay.
I
Sponsor
put them
us.
on, changed my life. And I was like, oh, now I need these for every pair of shoes that I have.
Yeah.
So you
Ooh, I
can't.
love that.
Well, you
Move them?
can move them, but they recommend so that it because it fits to, the way you stand in one shoe versus the
I
other is
see.
probably going to be
Oh,
different.
That's what they say
Yeah, I
because they
know.
want you to buy
That's-
more. of them.
that's what I
That's
was-
what they say.
That's what I was thinking too.
I feel like that conversation happens a lot at parties about vacuums.
Yes.
I feel like if someone brings up like
my
Dyson
gosh.
versus Shark, it is like
well, it's
Whoa.
Dyson only, right?
100%.
Yeah.
I mean,
Talk
there's
about
one right
on TikTok
answer.
right now. I'm keep getting all the ads for the Wise vacuum. Have you seen these?
oh,
What's
yeah.
a Wise vacuum?
WYZE.
They make those. They started out making cheaper security cameras.
And now they're making
Oh.
vacuums.
Yeah.
So now, like every third thing is about a vacuum, like Dyson versus Wise. Dyson versus Wise.
Dyson
Trying to
is
sell you the Wise
only
vacuum.
Dyson is the
answer.
go,
Yeah.
especially if you have animals.
Yeah.
Dyson is the
Mhm.
way to go.
Yeah.
Buy.
Bye,
bye.
bye.
I feel like now TikTok just wants you to buy everything. Before
It's
it wasn't
true.
like that, and I feel like now it's more.
Yeah.
I looked at
Like
one
that.
ad for a brownie that had like a bunch of protein in it, and now it's like non-stop.
Brownie protein.
yeah,
need
brownie
this.
protein. And I'm like,
You
you
need to
do
bulk.
need protein for real. Well, it's impossible. When I started like working out, they're like, all right, you need to eat 300 grams of protein. And I'm like, okay, how much is in like a yogurt? 15 grams.
Yeah.
I'm like, how the fuck am I going to eat 300 grams of protein?
You're always gonna be full.
Yeah. Yeah.
The protein intake. They really are kind of crazy about it in the fitness
they
world.
are.
They love protein.
Yeah.
They're like, how do you get your protein? Get your protein. Get your protein. I've tried a protein shake. Ugh. Blech.
I've
Blech.
tried.
It tastes so bad.
Halo Top ice cream has protein in it.
Do they?
I think
How
so.
much? That's what I was thinking. I was like, they need to start putting it. They're just sneaking it in everywhere because, like,
sneaking
the waffles and stuff. Because otherwise, you cannot eat that much protein.
No.
Yeah.
100% no.
Yeah, you really don't need that much.
you
That's what
don't
they-
need that much.
I mean, they want you to have that much,
Look
but
at
you
him.
really don't need them.
You are the anti-conspiracy buster. That's what they want you to believe. What else do they want us to believe, Matt?
Yeah,
That you need to drink a lot of water.
Yeah,
Stop.
you do have to
No.
drink one. That is a lie.
Get outta
That
here.
is a lie.
As a nurse, that one is just valid.
Need
You're drinking
water.
too much water.
I would say no one should listen to that advice.
No, 100% no. We've started giving Henny milk. He gets real milk now because babies don't get like cow's milk until a certain point.
Does he like it?
You know, there are a few things Henny dislikes in the world.
Right. He's such an
But he
agreeable
doesn't like
little
working
bub.
very hard.
Oh,
So
okay.
like doing the straw cup with some milk.
He's like, ugh.
Yeah. And you give him
Too
water,
viscous.
he'll take it and he's literally like this. Like you can hear him like, and then he'll be done like, This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. This year has gone by so quickly. I cannot believe it's already summer. When life is moving fast, it's important to take a moment to celebrate the wins and make adjustments for the rest of the year. Therapy can help you take stock of your progress and set achievable goals for the next 6 months. Here at You Can Sit With Us, we absolutely love therapy. It's great to have someone to talk to who's unbiased and can give you that sort of honest feedback that we're all looking for. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Take a moment, visit betterhelp.com/sitwithus today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/sitwithus.
Weren't you just telling me that babies can't have honey?
Yes!
They have spores
Yeah.
in them. You can't give it to them under
More.
3.
Crazy.
1.
Well, there's some that say 1, some say 2, some say ask your pediatrician.
Did you know that, Matt?
I didn't know that, but also
You
like
know, Huns.
a lot of honey is not real honey.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. It's true.
But literally, I feel like I know every single thing that a dog is not supposed to eat. But
We
I
were
didn't.
having this
yeah, right. But it's
conversation,
like
yeah.
how babies do
Yeah.
they give you like a pamphlet that's like these things will kill your baby, or you're just supposed to find that out?
I mean, we had the benefit of being in the NICU, so we got a lot of time with the nurses.
Yeah,
But other people know you just kind of find it out. There is
Yeah.
like a pamphlet, like
Hopefully
At
you're
least we got,
surrounded
like,
by
a
people
booklet.
and like have a support system.
So
Yeah.
you've had a baby. I
This
think
is
that's
your
what they should
handout.
do.
Yeah. Yeah. There
What's next?
What happens now? There are a lot of like TikToks that are about like when you go in for like your pregnancy scans, they're always like, you're out. Like it's really
Oh,
fast.
uh-huh.
That's how pediatrician appointments are too. You like bring your kid in, they're like, are they doing this? Are they doing this? Are they doing this? No. Yes.
Why'd you ask those questions?
Go.
Bye.
Yeah. Adios. I always have a list and I go through and I'm like, okay, doctor,
Oh,
blah, blah, blah,
smart.
blah, 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 blah.
That's
Mhm.
good.
Gotta make
But,
the most of
that's
your
good.
time.
Yeah, that's when you find out all the things you are not supposed to do.
Oh, after you've done them.
Usually. Yeah. Yeah.
Then you're like, was I supposed to do that?
Yeah.
I feel like vets are much more temperamental. If anything, they're like, bring him in
Yes.
right away. It's going to cost $7,000.
Oh my God. Tell me about it.
I had to get a separate trash can for my floss because at one point my cat ate the floss, and that's
That's
very
That's very
horrible.
dangerous.
Yeah, let me tell you.
Oh.
I had to. One of my cats is kind of dumb, and I was like, I need to up the insurance on this one.
Yeah.
She's fallen like 3 times from the loft.
No.
Yeah, and then every time I'm like, her name's Kachi, but I call her Kachingus because it like makes more sense for her personality. But like, and then I saw her literally fuck with a bee, get stung, walk around like whatever, and then 2 seconds later, fucking with the bee again. I was like,
You gonna learn.
and I'm
Pain
gonna
is
up the
pleasure.
insurance.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Ooh.
Wow. Well, the real reason you're here
Oh yeah,
Ash,
I was just like,
is
is
to
this a
get to know
podcast?
you.
This is
This is
amazing.
it. Yeah, this is what I do.
is to get to know you.
Yes.
To get to know everything about you.
Okay.
We all want to know.
Okay.
Yes.
What is it?
Okay.
What's going on?
What
What's
do
going
we
on?
need to know?
How's it going?
Well, you were just introduced.
Yes.
as
Yeah.
one of the
How are
newest
you
guys,
feeling?
newest
How's
cast
everything about
members.
this
I'm
streamer?
excited. Everyone's so nice. I feel like the really old school people who followed Try Guys from BuzzFeed like know who I am. And then some people dug up the me and Zach before Zach was married to Maggie. Of course, he was married to me
Yes.
for a week.
Iconic.
I just went back and watched that video and I'm like, that is Zach and I's dynamic. We're mainly annoyed with each other the whole time. Like just and it was very much like what we have to text each other every day. But by the end,
Look.
it was nice.
Yeah.
It was mainly Zach adjusting to Taylor Swift and me adjusting to, what did Zach even want to do? I don't know. I just didn't do it.
Yeah,
I didn't do it.
You already pushed it out of your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really excited. I'm like, everyone's so nice in the what's the name of the tri fandom?
Triceratops.
The
Triceratops.
Triceratops.
Yeah.
So nice. I got on the Discord.
Oh.
I'm like, is this like
Everyone is
Slack?
very
What is
excited.
this? Yeah.
Is this like Slack?
I realized I
Kind of.
haven't been online for like 6 years because I left BuzzFeed in 2018 and then I went behind the scenes into like writing and TV stuff. So it is exciting. Like it feels really nice coming back here and filming and shooting. It feels natural. But then there is a part of me that's like, oh, I haven't done this for so long. Like I texted Zach the other night and was like, you've just been online this whole time.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I'm like, is that weird? And he's like, kind of used to it.
Right? Seriously.
Yeah, what was that like stepping away and going more into the like you said, behind the scenes writing for one of my favorite shows,
And
Good
writing a
Trouble.
book.
Yeah.
You've been writing
You
a
wrote
lot.
a book?
Yeah, I wrote a book. I
Yeah,
wrote
you
for
wrote a
2
book.
TV shows. I'm
Yeah.
writing a rom-com podcast thing right now.
Cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, but it was really nice at first. Like I definitely just needed a break, but once I got a job writing in a writer's room, that was really weird because, at BuzzFeed, like everybody, it was a startup classic, and so we all just wore a million hats and like did a little bit of everything. And then in the writer's world, like you are part of the Writers Guild, you are a staff writer. A staff writer is expected to do this basically like not very much in the beginning, and you're expected to be terrified because it's usually you work your way up from like PA, and like I put in all my like grunt work time in a completely different industry. And then so I got there and I just like wasn't afraid of actors or set or all the production, because writers are very like alone people. And I meanwhile was like, my job is to sit in this room and talk. Oh my God. And then I like, actually, you don't have to write that much as a writer.
That's
As
actually
a
what
TV writer?
We have a friend
Really?
who writes
I
for
don't
TV,
understand.
and I
Wait,
was shocked.
So what are you doing then? In the writer's room, what are you doing?
You're mainly
just like brainstorming.
Because yes, exactly. TV is written together, and because there are so many characters, what usually happens is a showrunner comes in and is like, "Okay, this is what we're thinking for this episode this week," and then you kind of just go like, "Does anybody have any ideas, or has something similar happened to anyone?" And you just tell each other stories as you're locking in the parts of the episode, and then every episode gets assigned to one writer, and that writer at some point when the story is all locked, but you've done that in the room, goes off and writes the outline and technically writes the script. But even after then, it comes back and you all read it and you all pitch jokes and you all pitch like, so it's very, very collaborative. And you don't actually write that often, which is nice. You just sit and talk.
Wait, should we be writers?
Yeah.
Should we write
Maybe
something?
we've already been writing.
Is it
We
the
don't even
same
know it,
person
but-
always collecting all the notes and going back? Or
So
is it a rotating?
there's a writer's assistant who
Oh, okay.
just sits and writes down everything the writer said. We don't even have to write the notes. And then usually if you're one of the lower positions, like when you're staff writer, you often are the one writing on the board.
Oh, okay.
And then the showrunner is kind of the one directing everything that's going on in the room.
How long does it take for like each episode? Like how long are you in a writer's representative? How long are you in a writer's room for one episode?
So it's usually 2 weeks per episode. So if you're like on a 20, or if you're doing like 10 episodes, you'll be there for like 20 weeks in the writer's room. But it's not, it kind of can be like however much you want for each one, because some episodes come out really quickly and and you're always working on, once the train gets going on TV, they said, this was like a good analogy. Like they were like, TV is like building a train track on a train that's already going. So like once it starts production, you're just only one track ahead. But that was another thing that was hard for me, because everyone was like, oh, TV is so fast and it moves so quickly. But for me, it felt so slow, because coming from digital, I was like,
see.
what? I was like, when is this going to come out? And they're like, it'll be out in like 3 months. Can you believe it? And I'm like, what?
You're like, what's taking so long?
why are
I
you
can
so
believe
slow?
it. And it's weird also that like,
I can't believe it.
I can believe that. What the fuck? And then it's weird because you don't get that same feedback loop of like, I was like, when you come from BuzzFeed, they teach you just all about iteration and stats and like constantly getting feedback and trying the next thing. And with TV, it's like, you do a whole season and then you're like, oh, they didn't like that. Next season we'll change it. Like it really, like it was so
And it's the
slow.
network. You don't get to like physically read.
Yes.
And,
Like all you get is like tweets and like there's so many people involved in it. And like I did miss very much the producing side of everything. So like I'm excited coming back on the digital side and like being able to like have ideas again that aren't just like, no, it's above your pay grade.
I was going to say that must have been really interesting to go from somewhere like BuzzFeed, who did have a hierarchy, right?
Yes.
I mean, it was still corporate in that way.
Yes.
But it must have been different going into a very corporate setting of like
Yes.
the writer's
Stay in
room
your
is like,
lane.
stay in your lane,
Literally.
do not come out.
Well, and I left BuzzFeed partially because there was nowhere else to go. It was like we were all development partners at that point. If I would have stayed, the only thing I would have done was like, because I was also into the like the media business side of it, but it's like I didn't want to be a VP of something at that age. I wanted to keep I really like left BuzzFeed because there was nothing else to learn really, and like that was what was fun about moving into a different industry where learning everything from scratch of like, oh, this is how it's done, this is how TV's made. But it was nice because it's like I did feel like I had a bigger understanding of how production ran. And like writers are super afraid of actors because they don't interact very much, but I loved being on set. And like for Good Trouble, our set was literally like the writer's room was here and then there was a door and you were just on the set. So I made friends with the sound guy. So anytime we had a break, I would just like pop over and like watch a few scenes.
You're like, what's happening?
Yeah,
That's
and then come
fun.
back. That was
Yeah.
really fun. And
Are Davia and Dennis together yet?
literally, how do you feel about it ending?
I was sad.
Yeah.
I mean, I fell off kind of, I would say like one season ago.
Yeah.
Season and a half. When her and Jamie got back together,
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah, this is done.
it was redundant.
You got further than I did.
Maybe that's why I stopped watching. Your
Yeah,
touch
'cause
wasn't
my-
on it
yeah, you
anymore.
were
It was
like,
your
I can
ideas that I
tell.
liked.
Your
can
spin.
tell.
Yeah, your spin.
How did you get hooked up to doing like Good Trouble, Home Economics?
Yeah.
Was the other show that you did? Those are pretty big names.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was actually really. It was Twitter. My mentor was, or one of them was Jamie Snyder Ehrman, who did Jane the Virgin.
Oh.
Yeah, and she followed me in the golden days of Twitter before it was the garbage dumpster that it is now. I would just like, I was first and foremost, I've always been a fangirl of media. And so I would just like tweet that I loved, like I followed her and was like, loved this episode, whatever. And she followed me back. And I was also like, anytime I had like an opportunity, I'm not scared of like talking to people, but I was just like, oh, I'm going to DM her since she follows me. And I was like, I love your work. Like I love Jane the Virgin and all the stuff you're doing for like Latinx representation. And she was like, I love what you're doing on BuzzFeed. And I was like flabbergasted that like, what?
Shoot your
You're
shot.
like, they watch me.
Literally. And then I was
Yeah.
like, could I like take you out to coffee sometime just to like learn about the industry or whatever? And she said yes, which was insane. And then just like from then on, like anytime I was feeling discouraged about things, like she let me go on the set of Jane the Virgin and Shadow like for the whole week and saw the whole process. And then when I was writing my first like pilot script, she read it for me. And it just so happened that she read it right before her old boss worked on, it was a showrunner for Good Trouble, and they were looking for an Asian lesbian comedian to write for Alice's character.
Oh, yeah.
And Jenny was like, I have such a person.
Like, wait a minute.
I'm such a person.
And so I got in like very specifically, and
Wow.
I didn't realize how big of a deal. So she was like, do you want to be in a writer's room? And I was like, yeah, sure, maybe that'd be cool. And I went in and like interviewed and was so nonchalant because I didn't like realize how big of a deal it was. And then
Maybe that's good though.
yeah, it definitely
Then it wouldn't
was.
freak you out when you go
Helpful.
in.
Well, because
Yeah.
when I got there, there was so much I didn't know about formally like story pitching and character and like TV. You know, BuzzFeed was very, even though I was doing scripted stuff at BuzzFeed, it's so different. And
Right.
so I got in there and I was like, how did I get this job? And it very much was because I was an Asian lesbian comedian. And then I started writing for like Mariana works at a startup. And so like I wrote a lot for Mariana because of like BuzzFeed experience. And then I wrote Gael had a trans sister. And at that time my sibling was trans and me secretly. What I didn't really even know that, but I was like, yeah. And so I ended up writing for a lot of the characters, which was nice.
Wow.
Yeah. And then after that, then I just like had experience in the industry and then got my next job just through like my agents and stuff.
Yeah. I also feel like Miles gave some pretty good advice on the tripod the other day, which is don't burn bridges.
Don't
Don't burn those
don't
bridges.
well, you know,
This is true.
the amount of
This is very
people
true.
who on the between the two different shows I've been, like a significant amount of I think BuzzFeeders have like auditioned for when everyone like tried to get into acting at one point or tried to get into one thing or another, and like you really don't you never know who you are going to come into contact again, and the industry
true.
is so small.
It seems large, but
Yeah,
it is.
it is so small, and people remember like just like kindnesses, like little kindnesses, and it's you never
Or they'll
know.
ask about you.
Yeah.
They'll ask their friends.
Yes.
Like, how is this
Oh, yeah.
person like?
And all it takes is
Yeah.
one person being like, "Nope, don't work with them." They don't even ask questions. It's just like, oh, "Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that is good job, Miles. That's good.
Good job, Miles.
Miles.
Good
Good job,
advice.
Miles." Well, I
Perfect
mean,
person.
Miles quit and then came back as a promoted member of the cast. So
He didn't burn a
he didn't
bridge.
burn that
Don't
bridge.
don't burn the bridge.
He didn't burn the
Don't
bridge.
burn the bridge. He
It's
kept that
true.
bridge alive.
It's true.
Good for Miles.
And so we said before you also wrote a book.
Yeah, I did.
So what was your inspiration behind
You're
the book?
prepared. My book is called Read This for Inspiration, and so that's why Matt gets 1 billion points for that. My inspiration was honestly a little bit my ADD, and then it started originally. The book was kind of. I just found that I was always telling these stories to people. I've always been obsessed with like, especially women in the media and female comedians, and a lot of the stories in the book are like things about like Lucille Ball was 40 when I Love Lucy premiered, and like she was a C-list washed up actress. She had been blonde most of her career, like, and so whenever I would like talk to people who were like, especially, you know, when you're creative, you want to give up a lot because you're like, this just isn't working for me. And I'd be like, well, Lucille Ball was 40 when I Love Lucy premiered.
And
like,
she's the first female head of a movie studio, and
Yep.
she's the reason we have Star Trek.
yep, exactly.
She said,
Reruns.
yes, we have a little book.
Yes.
One of those gold.
Oh,
what are they called with the
yeah.
gold sign? It's like a kid's book, and
About
it tells you
Lucille
about
Ball.
Lucille Ball. Yeah.
I mean, they were amazing. And so like, and I had lots of those little stories, and I found that people after would be like, man, I feel like good after talking to you. And then I was like, oh, I should put these in something. And it was originally going to be just about like powerful women in Hollywood and stuff. And then it kind of expanded because I had lots of just like facts about things. And I think that's also my ADD. I'm just like really curious about things. So like one of the little stories in there is about it's butterfly goo. Like I think everybody thinks that like when we think of butterflies as like, oh, they go into a cocoon and then they grow wings and then they come out. But that's not actually what happens. They like literally melt into nothing and then become this goo in the chrysalis and like and reform into discs and completely become another being. And so I think when we think of transformation, we think that like, oh, it's as easy as like going away and getting some little wings, but like it's a extremely painful process to become yourself, but it's like can be worth it, you know? And so like that's kind of what the book is, like all these little like facts and stuff like that into one book. And I didn't want to write a book that was like, I didn't want to write chapters of things. And I also didn't want, I made it so that like you can just have it.
It's
like
a little coffee
sitting.
table book.
Yeah,
and
literally.
it's so beautiful. Like the illustrations are wonderful.
I worked with 4 different female, or 5, including the one who was there, like, but only worked with female illustrators and like worked with them on producing like each accompanying piece. So it's really bright. It's really colorful. I'm really proud of it. But it came out like at a weird time, like right mid-pandemic before my dad died. So I kind of like forget that I didn't get to do the whole like celebrate having it. So whenever I talk about it, I'm like, oh yeah, I have a book.
I did do that.
Wait a minute, I did do that.
Yes, I did it.
Is there another book in your future? Is that a goal of yours?
Yeah, there is actually. That one, I'm working on a book right now called Lost in Transition that's about my transition. And that one's more like essays.
Okay.
And I've always been a writer. Like before BuzzFeed, I never thought I was going to be in front of camera. I never thought I was, I was like, did drama in school and stuff, but I just didn't see any pathway to getting here. But I was always writing and always like blogging back in the day.
Got that Tumblr.
My biggest goal was just to be a blogger. Yeah, on my Tumblr, exactly. And I started a Tumblr. I started my Tumblr because I would always tell these like funny stories about like guys that I had a crush on at camp, and then someone was like, "You should put them somewhere." So now I am excited to like actually be writing a book, but it's coming out kind of slowly because I'm mid-transition, so I can't write about all of it right now, and
living it.
Yeah, exactly. And also I'm just like, I don't know. I have found like that not rushing things as a creative. I feel like when I was younger, there was a lot of pressure of just to get something out as quickly as I could, and now I'm like okay with letting things sit and letting them come naturally. Like I feel like that's something that comes with age of just pushing a lot less in your life of like, oh, here are my goals and my aspirations and here's everything I'm gonna do. And like part of like the whole second try era came from that too, just kind of like naturally like falling back into things instead of like, I'm going to do this,
Yeah, well, it's that post BuzzFeed era burnout of like, perform, do this, do it really fast. We'll give you a nice hoodie with a dog on it.
Yeah, for real.
Be happy with your hoodie.
Yeah, and I don't like I'm so impressed with what the guys have done and the fact that they've been able to sustain that, because it's no like I really feel like I took like 3 years to decompress from BuzzFeed. So the fact that they had to leave, start the company, do everything, build it from the ground up, and have been able to sustain it and grow it in this way is actually amazing, because it really like it took so much out of us, and like it was nice to be able to go behind the camera and to honestly just like not care about my appearance in the same way for a while, not care about my social media growing, not care about like to be able to hone a skill that was completely separate from like my persona was really nice. Like that was, I think, the most relieving thing about in digital, like becoming a figure or a person. It's weird because it kind of happened accidentally, and it's not like you can, I mean, I guess if you're like a sociopath, you can like study how to like become more popular, or like, manipulate people. But like really, it kind of is just like an accident that people gravitate to you. And it can be very taxing to then figure out what people want from you and have this real sense of self and authenticity, whereas like it was so nice to go into writing where it's a craft and I could just study specific things and get better and practice, versus being like, what does the internet want from me as a person today? Like that was a nice transition. But I'm back, so let me know what you want from me as a person.
Tell us in the comments.
Now you get to do it all, right? Now you get to do it all.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It must have been, please.
No, well, now I'm just older, so I don't like have that same sense of existential dread. Like, as you know who you are, it's like you put out what you want to put
Read
out.
less comments.
Yeah, for real. Oh my God.
I mean, on the vein of that, I feel like when you were at BuzzFeed, you did so much scripted and unscripted that I feel like especially the younger fans had a really hard time distinguishing you as a person from you as a character. And like, I always remember the Andrea Elnicki of it all. Because it was so bizarre. Not bizarre, because that was the storyline that was coming out, but the way that people like
thought everything was real.
Everything was real, got so obsessed with things, got so like in the comments about things.
And because I think part of that was like, we used our names, our real names. So it was like, oh, it was Ashley, Quinta, Sarah, Ella, Andrew. And I think that confused people.
Yeah.
And to be fair, a lot of the stuff that it was our friendship dynamics and it was conversations we were happening. So it was a version of us. But as Violet got more and more scripted, and then the stuff with AI and the Astro of it all, that was completely scripted. And so, but it was confusing because it was like, and also our characters were us. They worked at BuzzFeed and they like made videos too. So I get it. It was very meta. I understand why it was confusing to everybody. But, and I don't think I would do it differently, honestly. It was just, and I also think like, and I was doing unscripted videos also as myself. And so it was hard to tell like who was who, even for us kind of just being like, wait, is this my character? And like, because like when I came out, I wasn't out yet when Violet started. And then I came out and I was like, well, I feel like Ashley, the character, has to come out now. And that was an interesting moment, even though the whole Asher thing was happening too. There was some sense of like, I was evolving with that character and that character was evolving with me. And they were like very kind of symbiotic. I think I maybe would have taken a beat there or not felt that is what's nice about the distance that you have from TV, where you can live through something first and then kind of think about how you want to codify it as a piece of media for people to consume. There's more of that like art thing. Whereas at BuzzFeed, it was just like, we have to do something. This is what happened to me this week. I'm out. Now she's going to be out. And like, this is, you know. But there was a weird thing too, where it's like, me coming out as a character, or Ashley coming out as a character, helped me feel better being gay. Like I was my own representation. There was a weird thing watching it that I was like, oh, like my first kiss with a girl ever was my first kiss on Violet.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so it was like, that was, because I grew up super Christian. I grew up like, you know, I was in a sorority. I was like the whole, which I love. I'm still such a sorority girl. But like, and there happened, I was a Delta Gamma, and there's one, in our sorority, there was one male member. His name was George Banta. He was like a fiance of one of the other members. And so now all my sisters are just like, you're George Banta.
That's funny.
Maybe I'll find the George Banta in our lives.
Yeah. So it's like, that was I don't remember what the question was, but that's my long-winded answer.
I feel like you answered it.
Okay,
I feel like that was great.
I love it.
Yeah. What's on the horizon? What are you excited for? What's like, you know, speaking of the second try of it all.
The second try. I mean, I really have been thinking about that, and like, just, I feel like in my life, I'm at a point of second tries and of like, I feel like I've evolved into a different, you know, I've gone through my butterfly goose stage. I've like, and now I feel like a different person. I'm excited to put that perspective out there.
Oh, a moment that people really loved in the launch video, which gave, I think, all of us chills, was the knock on the window. I heard you need another guy. And then the wink.
I didn't know.
That was a Oscar-worthy wink.
I was like, who came up with that line?
Yeah.
That was my line. Yeah.
Oh my God, I love it.
It was originally supposed to be, hey, you guys parked in my spot. And then I was like, then they just let me do a run at the end where I was just joking about different things. And then I was like, heard you needed a new guy. And then Rachel was like, wink. And I was like, but I didn't realize most of the stuff, I mean, and this is a very digital thing. And also just like Zach and I have been friends for a long time, and Zach was writing the script. So he was just like, come in, do the shoot. I didn't know there was even going to be a script. And then I came in, and that I did not realize it was going to be like a moment in the video, and that the video was going to be so fast paced. And then, but it was fun to like get that. And then I think the weird thing, like now is all these like TikToks and stuff have been coming out post launch, like the one about like who's the new hot try guy after and Quasi and stuff. I'm getting tagged in the comments, and I was like, my whole brand at BuzzFeed was being like awkward and relatable. And the fact that people are like, you can be the hot try guy and you can be Eugene now. You're Asian and queer. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta grow my hair. Like
hair for sure.
But like
A Tresemme sponsorship.
Yeah, exactly. But that's so that's what I feel like the second try is of like, oh, I get to be on the internet again as myself, comfortable in this different era with my same friends, and people have known me for so long, but like as a dude, which is so exciting. And like I don't know, I'm just like really excited by the whole thing, and I'm so it's been so like heartwarming to see all of the like Triceratops and all of their like comments, and like so much of the audience is queer, and like I think people are really excited to have like such a diverse cast add on, and like so many people that they love, and I'm like honored to be part of that. But I kind of didn't, honestly, the like even just joining the cast of it all, it was really Nick who like sat us down and was like, so do you want to officially join the cast? And I was like, I feel like I'm just used to like, you know, Zach or Keith being like, hey, want to be in this video? I kind of didn't know that I was like joining the cast and it was going to be this whole thing.
Did you like this is like an MLM for you? You like came into the meeting and they kind of tricked you into it.
5 more guys.
Yeah.
You're like, what am I signing?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm trying to get the pink Cadillac.
Yeah, right. Well, I love
so
that
good.
trickery got you here.
Yeah, trickery got me here. Tomfoolery kept me here.
That should be on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of rude because
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, but Keith was away on tour and he was like, we're doing a Jeopardy video and we're going to have this one guy on who had this sassy line once on Jeopardy.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, fine. As a diehard Jeopardy fan, I was like, I like that guy, but whatever. And then he comes back and I saw on like a TikTok thing, I don't know if it was TikTok or something, that Amy was going to be
Yes.
there. And I was like, and the video was being shot like the next day. And I was like, Keith, put me in this video. Why am I not in this video?
Yeah, why weren't you in that video?
Because nobody likes me.
Oh,
Because my family doesn't like me. Is what it is. Because my family doesn't like me. Keith and Zach made that video.
Oh,
Keith and
my
Zach did not
God.
have me in that video.
Are you excited for Pop Culture Jeopardy? Have you seen this? Are you guys
my
gonna
God, that
audition?
is-
So I
Team
sent
Zach.
it.
Becky's
I sent it to Keith.
dream.
Zach, Keith. I sent it to Zach and Eugene and was
Yeah.
like, "Should we do this?"
Yeah.
And they were like, "Haha!" And I'm like,
No,
for
seriously.
real.
"No, but for real, should we do this?
Yeah.
Because I can't. You can't go on without a team.
Yeah, you need 3
have
people.
to have 3 people.
Yeah.
You want to do a team?
Yeah.
I would totally be on it.
Right?
I love pop culture. I live for pop
Zach will
culture.
do it with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also thought the Jeopardy questions. I made Keith play it with me before
yeah,
you guys did it because I was like, let me see if they're actually hard.
Yeah.
I will say, I would have known some of those answers.
Yeah.
I
You
don't
definitely
know.
would
I
have.
would have known some of those answers. And I'm eternally jealous. And
I mean, Amy, that was amazing.
I'm-
Not only were we playing Jeopardy, but
It's-
playing with Amy was incredible.
I think she's won the most
Yeah.
money, or she's the most winningest
Yeah, she's the most
Jeopardy
winningest woman.
contestant.
Winningest.
I think she won the most.
I'll look up her stats
Yeah.
because I don't want to fuck this up because Amy could
How,
be
like,
listening.
what?
Incredible.
How do you get there, right?
To Jeopardy? Oh, to being the.
To being Amy.
Well,
how do you
what
get
was
to be
interesting
Amy?
is
You know?
I asked her, like, do you have ADHD? And she was like, yes, I do. Because part of Jeopardy is like, you have to have it's I learning versus T learning. So like you have a wide breadth of learning instead of like really deep learning. And she was like, I've just always been curious and have always, if I had a question about anything, like looked it up or Googled it or,
Right.
you
She
know,
remembered it.
encyclopedia'd it. And like, that is kind of what Jeopardy's about. Like, and it was also interesting what she was telling us is like, Jeopardy is about like the first answer. So she's like, they don't really look up the hardest answers that no one would know. It's like kind of like, she would read a lot of books for dummies, like things that she didn't know about, like sports for dummies, or I mean, she knew about sports, but what was the other one she was saying? Like, I was like, I wouldn't know about sports, so that's what I would have to read.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was really cool. And then when we played Scrabble, that was really fun.
Yeah,
we did the
yeah.
4v1 for that. That was just chaos. Like
There's so many rules that I wasn't
Oh
expecting
my
for
God.
Scrabble.
Well, and it was just really all of us just screaming at each other and like Quasi, God bless his soul.
Oh, crazy.
He really was trying to play 2 letters the whole time.
It's like, please. I did find out Jeopardy or Amy's streak on Jeopardy. She is the highest earning woman in Jeopardy history.
Yep.
And the first openly trans player to compete in Jeopardy Tournament of Champions. Her streak went on for 40 days.
Yes.
And she won
What?
$1.3 million.
Yep.
It pays to be smart.
Yeah.
Pays to be
Yeah.
smart.
And I also think Amy had amount of questions answered on the board was
the
higher
most?
average
Oh.
than other people. The way
And
she
like Jennings or
clicked
whatever.
in was
Yeah.
like, pew, pew, pew. You have to hit it like a million times.
I don't
like,
know if this
that's
made
like,
us into the video, but we asked how she practiced that. She just a pen,
A pen.
clicking
Oh,
a pen.
pen
She says the
clicker.
mechanism is pretty
Very
similar to
similar.
clicking a
Feels
pen.
the same.
Yeah.
Wow.
Have you
Interesting.
Get
done
practicing, Bex.
the
practice quiz?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Have
I
you?
mean, I'm not going to get on Jeopardy. I'm really good at home. I'm a home Jeopardy
Yeah,
player.
yeah.
There was actually this one time I played a prank on my dad because we loved watching Jeopardy together.
Oh my God.
And I got home from school at like 3 and he got home at like 6 and Jeopardy's on at 3.
Yeah.
So I watched Jeopardy and we recorded it. And so I pretended like I hadn't watched it. I knew all the answers.
You had
And
all
my
the
short
answers.
term memory was so good at the time. I was like
Oh
listing
my
all these things
God.
to my dad. I was like, wow. I was like, you're really getting these.
Did you ever tell him or no?
Yeah, I told
my
him like
God.
immediately after. I was like,
Oh,
I
I
already
wish
watched
you didn't
this.
tell him. That's amazing.
Thinks I'm like a
That's-
Jeopardy prodigy.
That's a new. There's a TikTok trend of like parents. Have you guys seen that one where they give the
No.
answers to one parent of like what's all the favorite
yes.
things
Oh,
that
yeah,
you're
yeah,
doing,
yeah.
and the
That's
other parent gets
cute.
so mad. So I'm picturing your dad just like pissed off that you know everything.
What the hell is going on? How does she know this? But it does kind of feel good when you're answering those questions. I mean,
Oh,
did
yeah.
you get that like euphoria when you
Oh,
got it right?
I definitely got the. There was probably only like 3 or 4, and the best ones are the ones that people don't expect you to know that you know because of
Oh,
some
yeah.
other random interest that you have.
Yeah.
That was super fun. Doing the 4v1 was fun. I helped write the smoke show questions.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I helped. I was like the little guide for smoke show because Keith wasn't in the high guide, and then which those will be out. And then I wrote the trolley problem questions for most of the next season with Xavier. Yeah.
What is your favorite trolley problem question that you came up with?
I don't know offhand which one. I had a really dumb one, which people didn't think was that fun. And I'm trying to.
And you're like, but I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a
Genius.
pun. I liked all the like punny ones. I can't remember now. Honestly, we wrote so many of them, and you get into a really weird loopy state trying to think of things that would make sense on trolley problems. But just thinking of who would torture, like what would be tortured and what would be allowed to. We would be allowed to do to guests. It was fun because
Oh,
the
yeah.
episode that Keith was on, they were like, well, it's Keith, so you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Well,
oh, nice.
Push the
Zach
limits.
called him the other
Yeah.
day. Like we had just put Henny down. We're about to have dinner. And Zach's on the phone. I hear him on speaker being like, okay, so like the editors and everyone just wants to like really make sure you're okay with like the foot sucking is like kind of a law. And Keith was like, I don't really care. People can do whatever they want in their own time. Do a video of me getting my foot sucked. And I was like, what are you doing?
How has it been for you? Are you guys just like, all right, there's no limits. They just do what they do. Do you ever see stuff later and then are like,
I
"You
didn't
did
know that was happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get calls from Zach's mom and he's like, you let him do this? I was like, I didn't know what was
Like,
happening.
whatever.
You're like,
He
I
does
know
what he
hospital.
wants.
Yeah.
After the turning point for me was when they did the Kim Kardashian booty shoot.
Oh, yeah.
my
After
God.
that, I was like, well, there's no limits. Then I
Yeah.
just was
That's
like,
it.
okay, I don't care anymore.
That
Like,
was
it's
really
good,
early
it's done.
on. That was kind of like the big viral.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember they
Yeah.
did that.
After
in
that, I was like, it's
less
what
than
else can
24
surprise
hours.
us?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
real.
Nothing can phase me.
Yeah. After that,
Yeah.
it's done.
It sounds like you guys are asking them to face you.
That was not a challenge.
You heard it here first.
Welcome to the next show.
Maggie
Try-
wants
second
more.
try.
Maggie wants
Nothing
more.
can
Please,
phase
no.
me. Maggie wants more. I'd watch that show.
Yeah, I think it's just more, and I wonder if you feel this way too, about like your family and extended family finding things out
Oh yeah.
about you, or like they're
yeah.
doing, it was teased, they did a mushroom video where they took mushrooms, and I was like, okay, well, I don't know if I want my grandma to know that you took mushrooms. I don't know if that's like, I don't know what to tell her about that one.
Oh, that's
But like,
so funny.
do you have family reach out, whether it has to do with like your transition or your time at BuzzFeed, your time with Second Try?
Yeah, I
like,
mean, there was
coming
definitely.
out.
Well, the Second Try thing, I didn't realize how many of my family were like avid Try Guy fans still watch. Just in
my God, I love
general,
that.
the people in my life who were like, "Oh my God, you're a Try Guy." My mom cried. Do you know my mom sobbed, and I didn't tell her because like
So sweet.
she knows that we hang out and that we've done videos and stuff, but when I told, she was like, yeah, Anak. Anak means child in Tagalog. So she's like, Anak, you're a Try Guy. And she was just like sobbing. Because
we have to have her on.
I know, oh, you have to have her
Cookie,
on.
this is our
That'd be
call
so
for
fun.
you.
She will
That'd
be
be
here
awesome
like
to have
tomorrow.
Cookie
She
on.
literally called me. She called me just because she liked the pictures that I posted on Instagram. She's like, "What are the pictures? You look so handsome." And I was like, "Oh, it's for the Try Guys. Like, I'm, for Second Try, I'm like part of the cast." And she was like, "You're a Try Guy," and she was sobbing. And she's
That is
always
so cute.
forever since I left BuzzFeed, and always she wanted to know like, what are the Try Guys up to? Like, she always wanted to know. So she like. My mom, more than anyone, was so excited. So she'll probably be in. I'm sure we'll rope her into some content.
Yeah, whenever I need my sugar fix.
Yeah,
we were talking about it
literally.
before.
Call her up.
Ash's mom sees candy
Yeah, sees
her
candy
purse.
and just gives them
and
to
gives it
people.
out. We were going to a concert, and she was like,
She's a little
here's
ray
a
of sunshine.
butterscotch. And I was like, yes!
Was that before we? Was that at Verse?
Verse, yeah.
Where we met
The
at
vampire
Verse.
bar.
Yeah, it is a vampire
We
bar.
love
No
that little
windows.
No windows. And there's no mirrors in the bathrooms, even the women's.
Oh,
Yeah.
even the women. See, I was like, that's not a thing for me anymore. No mirrors in a bathroom is pretty standard.
I'm curious about, so you have seen the Try Guys at the early stages of their career and now up to now. Like,
Yes.
what have you noticed
when they were
them
Try
changing?
boys?
Yeah,
Try
Try
boys.
boys, Try men.
Our babies.
What have I noticed them changing? I mean, it's cool to watch them go from like at BuzzFeed, we were talent and employees, and to watch them like running the company. I got kind of emotional when at the launch party, having them give their speech and seeing like truly, it's not just them, like they are the heads of this company that employs so many people, and seeing everyone and their families there, and seeing that like, especially with all they've been through, that they've been able to keep it so positive, to do the right thing, and to maintain this thing that is the livelihoods of so many people. It's not just about, and I know it would have been easy at many points to fold or to quit, or it must have been exhausting, to continue being on the internet in that presence. And I think that's what I've noticed the most, of seeing them go from like where we were peers as talent to seeing them be, bosses, is really cool. And personality wise, they haven't changed at all. Like even Keith as a father, and like I'm like, oh, you guys are just the same. Now you have a baby, now you're married, like exactly the same. Like Zach is the same person. When trolley problems, I was like, of course what is this little outfit? Like it was
Little outfit.
so Zach. And it's funny though, because we're very similar. He pulled out a train whistle, and I was like, I just bought a train whistle last week that I've been playing with at home.
Where does one get a train whistle?
Well, I got it at in Crestline. I was up in Arrowhead, and I got it, and my cats hate it, but so that was a weird thing to be like, oh, I also just bought a train whistle. So yeah, they haven't changed personality wise, but it is cool to see how much has like changed behind the scenes about them and all the work that they're doing. They're actually bosses.
Weird.
Yeah. The other thing I'm
Bosses.
wondering is, because when people in the industry, I feel like it's like, okay, how do you actually, what are you doing today? How do you spend your time? How do you fill your days? Because you're not writing you're not writing today.
As a writer, you spend most of your time avoiding writing, I would say. Just thinking. I like to pretend that when I'm like, oh, I really should be writing, I'm just like, I'm doing research. And I'll go do something. And writing really is like the type of writing I'm doing now. I'm writing movies and working on pitches for other shows. I was writing for ABC. I was working on a pilot for a couple of years. and talk about that was the one. It was about my parents meeting and all of my aunts, and I was like, I'm gonna have to answer to some questions when they all see this. But
The family secret.
You changed one letter of their name.
basically, like I was like, how do I'm gonna need to put one of those things like, this is not based on anybody. But yeah, like nowadays I'm really excited to be doing this too, because actually, like when you're freelance and writing and all of that, like the big thing is keeping your own schedule and keeping yourself motivated. And I find, because of my ADHD, that like what motivates me is having multiple things. And the busier I am, ironically, if I have time to do something, I just will not do it.
Yeah.
But like being busy and having work here, and even just like, oh, okay, I have a trolley problems meeting that I'm hopping on or filming for something. And then I'll be like, oh crap, I only have this little bit of time to do my work. I've actually found that since joining, I've done so much more of my own work. So yeah, the industry is like a weird place, because it's like a lot of ideas. It's almost like, I think about it like composting. Like you're a lot of things that you're throwing out or throwing away, they need to sit and ferment into this other thing before it becomes rich enough to like grow something in. And so that's what I tell myself when I'm just sitting on my couch watching reality TV. I'm like, this is gonna show up somewhere.
This is gonna be a plot point somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Ash, thank you so much for joining us
Yeah,
today.
for having
This
me
is
on.
wonderful. This is amazing. Since
is
this
great.
is our kickoff to Pride Month
Yeah.
episode, is there anything you want to say to our audience? Anyone
Yeah.
have any tips, any advice, any
Be
It's-
gay,
it-
do crimes.
be gay, do crimes?
Yeah.
Love that.
Love is love.
Love is love, man.
Yeah.
Everyone's a
Support
little
one
gray.
another.
Yeah, gray.
Yeah.
I said
Yeah.
gray, but I
A
meant
little
gay.
gray.
A little gay, a little gray. Yeah, for all my Pride people, you don't have to. I think the thing that I wish someone had told me is like, you don't have to have it all figured out about your identities, and just like go towards your happiness. And I think, a lot of the beginning of coming out and the stress is trying to figure out exactly who you are, because you're afraid that you have to tell everyone exactly who you are. But, you can figure it out along the way. And I hope coming out isn't a thing in the same way that it was before, except like we were joking. I hope only straight people have to come out from now on.
100%.
And yeah, you can't predict what people are going to say. Like I was telling you guys, my dad's first question to me when I came out was, what if you want to be a CEO? And I had no answer for that. So
If anyone's thinking about coming out, just remember
yeah,
that.
just remember to tell your
Get an
parents.
answer for that.
Yeah, if you do want to be a CEO, have an answer about how you're going to do it as a queer person.
Well, as always, guys, make sure you're washing your hands, peeing after sex, registering to vote, voting, being nice to people, being kind, be gay,
Yeah.
be yourself, be
Aggressive.
aggressive, be aggressive. Roll call.
Be aggressive.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.